Hey everybody, we are back with a brand new game of excitements that is I'm super hyped to talk about here.
So hyped.
So it's funny because like
Not
this
a racing game.
it's not a racing game, believe it or not. So 2 weeks ago, or within the last 2 weeks actually, last time we recorded, I had no idea this game existed. Never heard of it in my life. And then I started listening to some podcasts, and everybody was hyping this game up. And they were like, I'm literally stopping to play Helldivers and Final Fantasy and all these games to play Balatro. And the game is called Balatro, and it's Latin for like Joker or Fool or whatever.
Joker.
And you'll understand why, because Joker is like a big component to this. So this is made by one guy. It's a one guy developer who doesn't like poker. He's not a fan of poker at all. But he made this game because poker is something that's very accessible to a lot of people, and that was a mechanic he wanted to use to build the game that he's really trying to build.
I hate this game so much, I'm going to make it better.
Yeah, basically. So it's the description on Steam is it's a poker roguelike. It's a hypnotically satisfying deck builder where you play illegal poker hands, discover game-changing jokers, and trigger adrenaline-pumping outrageous combos. So, you know, like if you like go to like casinos or whatever and they like hit you with like that dopamine rush, like with the wins and all that stuff, and it just like pops up. This is that like times 20 and times 40 and times 80. Like the amount of, it's kind of like the satisfaction like you get if you've ever played like a clicker game, like those cookie clicker games, like they just like freaking like hit you with like dopamine rushes or whatever all the time.
It's like what's that Loop game?
Oh, Loop Hero.
Yeah, Loop Hero.
Yeah, but it's not like an endless runner where it's just running in a loop, but it's got that same kind of progression mechanic to it where like, and that's what kind of makes this thing so powerful. And for those that have played, if y'all remember the game Inscription that came out a couple years ago, I talked about that on this podcast, and it's a card game that's very similar to I mean it's like a that one's more like a hero, like a Heroes of North. What's a World of Warcraft Blizzard card game?
Quest.
No, Blizzard card game.
Oh, wow.
What is it called?
Wow.
No, the
dang
card game that they made.
Wow.
Wow,
Shit.
I can't think
World
of
of
it.
Warcraft. Wow, he said
It's on the top of my head, or top of my
top of your head?
yeah,
Tongue.
yeah.
Tip of your tongue.
Hearthstone. That's what it was.
Thank
Hearthstone.
you. Jeez.
This fucking guy over
Hearthstone.
here. Yeah, Hearthstone. Yeah. So that game was a lot like Hearthstone. This game is probably most compared to like, it is actually very much similar to Inscription in this sense, except instead of Hearthstone mechanics, it's poker mechanics.
Okay.
So instantly it's very recognizable because you have 3 different runs. So when you start out, you have a small blind, your big blind, and then your boss blind. And that will up the ante if you complete all 3 of those. And there's 8 antes you have to go through in order to complete the run. And if you die at any one point in that process, or you lose at any one point in that process, you start over from 0 again. But as you're doing it, you're unlocking stuff along the way. So you might discover a new voucher, which I'll explain vouchers in a second. You'll discover a new Joker card. You'll discover a new card pack, and that will be added to your permanent collection that you can then use. That will appear in future games to help you kind of make your future runs better. So the general gist of it is you start out, you have a run, and you have, like, say you start with small blind, you have to get at least 300 chips. And in doing that, you have a max amount of hands, so you can play up to 4 hands, and you do your standard poker. So you have your 4 of a kind, your full house, your flush, your straight flush, all that stuff. Traditional rules there. And each one has a point value, and it's got a point value for what you get for the playing that deck, sort of playing that, playing a flush, and then you get a point value per card you play. So face cards will have 10, and then it's 7, 8, 9 based on the number of the card. And then you have a multiplier that could come into play, or multiplier that can come into play based on the level of your straight flush, your 2 pairs, your etc. That gets upgraded over time as you play the game and unlock cards and shit like that. So you play a hand, you go through it, you have, let's say you have 4 hands and like 3 discards. And discards are going to be, you can discard any number of cards up to 3 times to get new cards to have better cards you can play in your hand. And then you have, let's say, up to 4 hands you have to play in order to get the minimum requirement of points to advance on to the next round. And in doing that, you're just playing these rounds over and over again, and there's this endless loop. But what's interesting about it is that as you're going in, like, say, the big blind, the minimum chip requirement goes up. And then you get more money. But you also, before you move in the next one, you get a shop where you can buy, you get money with each game you play up to like, I mean, the most I've ever gone is like $10. But you can use that to buy a voucher, which adds a permanent buff to your game. So it could say you get one extra hand for the duration of the run you're doing, or you get one extra discard, or you get plus $2 per run or whatever. So you can do that for $10. You can also buy Joker cards. And Joker cards, you can have a max of 5 Joker cards in your hand, and Joker cards are persistent modifiers to your game. So one Joker card that I've been using recently is like every time I play a straight, I get a times 10 multiplier on that play. So not only am I going to get my whatever points times whatever I have for playing a straight, I get times 10 on top of that. So you can see these things like, add up and multiply.
Yeah.
And then you can have other cards in your Joker hand. Let's say you have like, I had one today that was like, I play an ace and that gives me double points or whatever. So you can like start stacking these modifiers onto a single play and go from like getting like 100 points in a run to like one run today, I got like 3,500 points in one play. And I beat like the level with one play. I didn't have to play any more hands.
Jesus. And
it's just like this crazy complex like series of systems that you have to like, okay, I have these 5 Jokers in my hand. This one does this one does this. What kind of hands do I need to play in order to get the highest modifier for this run that I'm trying to achieve? And then you also get these things called these card packs, which a card packs basically give you like, it could be a consumable card that you can apply during a particular run that lets you have, it might improve a playing card. So it might make a 6 worth like double points, or it might make a 6 like, I don't know, increase a particular, like maybe a 2-pair. If you use it in a 2-pair, then it gives you like 5 times multiplier, those kinds of modifiers. And there's 52 variations of that, plus more, I think even beyond that in the playing card deck. But then the consumables will apply the different series of cards, and there's like magic consumables that can like turn a card into stone or turn a card into glass and like do all these weird like modifications. So like it basically like after the first round, you're not really playing poker anymore. You're playing this like complicated mess of just like deck building stuff in a roguelike kind of experience.
So is there an end?
Yes, the end is getting to the 8th ante, which is basically 24 runs essentially. But it's like incredibly hard because every single run you do, it gets harder and harder. The number count goes up. The farthest I got was 3 out of 8 on the ante, and that was really, really hard. And then I had a part where I had, one hand left. I had 0 discards left, and there was literally nothing in my hand that I could play. And I had to lose and start over from 0.
I'm watching this, and it's just moving so fast. Like it's hard to watch this.
Yeah. It's definitely something that like I feel like it'd be tough to stream. I mean, you have to really be narrating with every move you do.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that comes up and happens and moves around. But ultimately it's just you're just playing cards, and then it just you play up to those number of hands. And you'll see on the sidebar it always shows you how many hands you have left and how many discards you have left and how much money you have. So it tells you all the stats like right there on the screen, and then every time you put in a hand and they calculate it, it'll show you on the left-hand side the point count and the multiplier that it's getting from your cards that you played, plus all your Joker modifiers that come up in the top. So we'll tally that up, and then give you your final score. And then they have the boss battle, which is at the end of the 3rd, and the boss one is just like an inscription. There's like some kind of modifier that makes the game like fucking hard. So like one of them I played today was like you could not play the same type of, I forget what do you call it in poker? Like what do you call a straight flush or a straight? Like what is that called? Do you even know?
Oh, fuck.
I don't know what like no, not a suit. It's just like a play. Like you cannot do the same play twice. So basically when I was fighting that boss, if I did a straight, I couldn't do another straight. It didn't count for anything the second time. So then I had to be creative about like, shit, like I got to get a full house or something like real early and then work down towards like
the deck that you have.
Yeah, you always have 52 cards with every round you play.
Okay.
And then that 52 card deck, you run through it in that blind you're playing, And so you always have a 52 card deck to run from, but it's like full houses or straight flush, for example, is like the hardest to get because it has to be in consecutive order of the same suit.
Yeah.
So that's like super, super hard to get. Full house is a little bit easier, but like you risk, like you could go through 5 hands and never get 3 of a kind and a 2 pair because of just like the card order, basically.
So where does the Joker come into play? Because you said it gives you buffs.
Yeah.
Right?
So the Joker's at the end of every run at the end of every blind that you do.
Yeah.
So you do a small blind, big blind, whatever. You go to the shop, and during the shop, it lets you select. You get a random series of Jokers that you can buy with the winnings that you have.
Okay.
And
so
those
you buy
add
the
in.
Jokers, you don't earn them as you continue.
No, yeah, you buy them, and that will stack up in the top of your screen, and you can have up to 5 Jokers at once. So over time, once you fill up your 5, you're like, oh, this Joker's not giving me enough modifiers, so I'm going to sell this one, which will give you a couple dollars back. And then you can buy a new one to replace it with when something else comes into play.
Okay.
So you can like modify that Joker list every time you're running through. So I had one run, the one where I got to like 4 out of 8, like. I had this Joker set that was giving me, for all odd cards, I would get like a ×2 modifier. For every straight, I would get like a ×10. For every face card, I would get some kind of deal. So I was just getting like ×40, ×50, ×60 with every play I was doing.
Dang.
And it was so freaking cool. And then there's this one time where I was like, oh, this Joker is just kind of shit. So I sold it and got a new one that popped up in my shop that was like, oh, this gives me like a times whatever for, I don't know, 6s or something like that. I was like, let me put that one in instead. That sounds better. Or give me more money per run. And there's also times where like certain buffs will come in where it's like, you'll see like X's on the cards. You'll play a boss that says any cards that you played in your last run are debuffed. So therefore they don't give you points in this run anymore. So you got to like discard those cards and like start playing with new ones. And it's just like, this game is 52 megabytes in size. It's so tiny. It was $20, so that's the cost of it. I mean, like,
cost.
but I mean, I could honestly see myself like, this is something you can just jump in. I can play a run for like half an hour and move on and just like be content. And it's just like such a freaking good like adrenaline rush of like, and it just everything works. Like, there's nothing broken in this game. All the systems make sense, and the fact that it was made by like one dude is like kind of amazing. So freaking good.
I mean, it found its niche. Like it's basically got 5 stars across the board.
How many hours have you put into this?
I got like 3 or 4 in there right now. Yeah, it's not a whole lot, but
That's good for just this card game. Like,
yeah.
shit.
I mean, there's people out there that like literally have like already. I mean, it came out like 2 weeks ago or something like that. They already got like 30 or 40 hours in this game, with like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just coming out. Like, it's just like it's literally like people are addicted to the.
Yeah, no.
It's one of those things that, and the crazy thing is like there's no microtransaction in this game or anything. It's just, it is what it is. And they just came out and they made $1 million in 8 hours with this game.
God damn.
$1 million. So they basically like with profit within 8 hours.
That's like Power World.
Yeah. Which I mean, for them was like, I think it was like 23,000 copies or something like that. But that's like freaking awesome, you know, like an indie dev. This is like the fastest selling game he's ever released.
And you're playing this on PC, right?
Yeah, I bought it on PC. Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out what I wanted to get. I bought it on PC because I was like, I could also doubly play it on the Steam Deck if I wanted to.
Okay.
But I kind of like playing on the bigger screen because it also has this like neat. There's no like real story to this, but there is some kind of like weird like. There's something off by everything because it's like
That's what
the Jokers are weird.
Because with the other one,
Inscription,
there's like always a kind of weird boss thing going on. But with this one, I don't see that.
Yeah, this one doesn't really have a story to it, but it does have this like interesting like CRT effect to it where like it kind of bends the screen and has like a little pixelation. You can turn all that off if you want.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. Like it just kind of adds to the thematic element. It's kind of like you're playing on an old school like casino machine, but it's like taking everything you know about poker and throwing it out the window and being like, you have to know those basic rules, but everything else is like brand new systems and mechanics. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it really surprised me. Like, it's definitely going to be probably on like, it could potentially like be on my top 10 list for the year with how much I'm enjoying it so far.
just kind of a thought looking at this. Like, this is just simple and fun. Keyword is fun. Mm-hmm. And I wish AAA games would just like take a step back and be like, let's make something simple and fun.
Yeah.
So-
And then if it does good, maybe we'll make it bigger next time. Let's just not just keep making everything bigger.
Yeah.
I was watching a video today about a guy. He was just like, yeah, my parents wouldn't let me have a console or a PC or a console. So you know what I did? I played Flash games. Those games were amazing. I learned so much and enjoyed whatever they put out. It was shitty quality, but it was addicting and it was fun. And that's what I'm picturing with this one. It is a Flash game and it's just simple
and fun.
Simple, fun,
Yeah.
and addicting.
Well, it's like the roguelike formula is I mean, it is built to like hook you. It's like, oh, one more run, you know, it's like freaking Cult of the Lamb, same kind of deal, or Hades, you know, it's like all of this, like, man, I died, I'm so close, you know, it's like you have varying runs, and you never know if your run's gonna be good. I mean, because it's a what do you call it, a RNG, like random number generator kind of a system where it's like you may not get the best stuff each time, but you kind of want to jump back into it, just see if you can push yourself up a little bit further, you know.
It's cool, man. Like, this is it's definitely interesting. I'm not going to play it. Definitely interesting to hear about
I'm
it.
not a fan of card games. So
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been getting into some deck builder concepts a lot more lately, which is kind of weird, but I don't know, they're kind of interesting. But
because you guys are still playing Marvel Snap, right? Huh?
yeah, that one I did end up on. Yeah.
Stop that shit.
Yeah, it was great though.
When it started becoming super complicated, like you would play, and then there's like these cards, and then the seasons would come, and like new cards would come in, and it's like, okay, like I understand what I'm building and what I need, like the different variations of decks.
The meta, they kept changing the meta on it too,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, you kind of figure out how to play, and then like
they
something new
change.
comes out, you got to relearn it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm done with this.
Yeah. And this
That's
one
what
so
happened
far,
with Underworlds.
Yeah.
Like, I would spend all the money to get all the decks, so I have all the cards to build everything I needed for each, like the war bands.
Oh, that's that real game that we play, that tabletop. Yeah.
And then it just got super convoluted, and they're like, well, these
Got to make it interesting.
these cards don't count anymore that you spent like $300 on.
Right.
So all these now, but then in 3 months, those won't matter either. So
Yeah.
like, fuck that. Anyway,
Yeah.
I went on a tangent.
Yeah, that's what's I think interesting about this is like at the end of the day, it's like you're working with a 52 card deck, and it's a standard playing card deck, like nothing fancy with it. But you can in those runs like modify a single card throughout your gameplay, which is kind of cool. But it's not, and you over time will unlock new collections and stuff that can change it. And like each deck also has one like modifier to it. So the red deck gives you one extra discard. For every play you do. If you unlock the blue deck, then that gives you one extra hand. Mm-hmm. So you kind of like decide like what you want to like kind of add or remove. But I mean, there's a lot of potential for like expansion here because you can add more bosses, you can add more variations to the card decks. There's no microtransactions in here. It's just fun, easy, like addiction. Yeah, it's cool. Palate cleanser,
There you go. Palate cleanser.
Yeah. So
Thank God for indie games.
faux show.
Because I guarantee you, if AAA game or company got this, there'd be transactions out the ass.
Oh, get these cool deck that colorful and
Yeah.
$59.99.
Yeah. Change your
Buy
background
the fucking
out.
Battle Pass.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he mentioned here that he knew that poker would be a good thematic tie-in that a lot of people could use as a launching point to understand the mechanics of the game. He could use terminology in poker and then use some visuals like blinds, antes, and chips as a way to make the whole thing feel cohesive. But he doesn't play poker. He doesn't care about poker. But then he went on to say that it turns him off when he plays a game with a bunch of terminology like HP and poison damage and experience and all those kinds of terms. They're very gamery terms. I don't play games a ton. So these things to me, they feel like they're adding so many layers of complexity. When I made my game, I want to make sure it's there. There's no hit points, no damage. You're not attacking something. It's almost like solitaire. I was like, I appreciate that,
Hell yeah.
So, Balatro, everybody. It's available now. It's on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. So, it's available on a lot of shit, which is cool. And there is apparently I just read, there is a working mobile version that he has. He just hasn't released it yet because he didn't want anybody to lose their life just yet.
I think I would play this on my phone.
Yes, 100%.
definitely.
100%. So yeah, check it out. Balatro, out now. $20.